Oh, I should turn on the and then I'll call like bring a ding. Bring a ding. What the?
Okay.
She's that small. She's like.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
There we go. I'll do our video on too.
Sweet, so awesome.
Isn't this cool, huh?
This is
Yeah.
nice.
I see you guys now.
We see you.
Nice start. Awesome author.
I got, you know what? I often bring my dog to my virtual visits because he can't go with me to my school visits. And he likes to visit kids, and he's just so darn cute. So I like to show him to the kids when we first start out visiting. So this is Corduroy. He says hi. But I'm gonna let him go back and eat his breakfast. He was eating, and I had to make him stop eating. So, well, welcome to my home in Libertyville, Illinois. You guys are in my office, which is also my den. My dining room in my home. I know you're up in Portage, Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
We're not too far from each other, and I'm going to see. You tell me, are you having the same weather I'm having? I'm going to turn. You can look out in my backyard.
Yes. About the same.
Kind of wet and rainy, maybe?
Yes. It is pretty.
Well, I'm very excited to be visiting your classroom today and to talk to you about writing and what authors do and all that kind of cool stuff. I usually start out telling kids a little bit how I started writing and became an author, because that's a question they often like to ask. And I have to, well, before I want to show you something, but I have to ask, can you keep a secret?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is a big secret, and I can't have this getting out, so I got to know you can keep this secret.
Yes, we can. Yeah. But he.
All right.
That's my heart. I believe that.
So what I have to show you is a story that I wrote in first grade, okay? Now, this is going to tell you quite a bit. Now, take a look at this story. Now, what do you think? Does it look sloppy or does it look neat?
Sloppy. So very sloppy, sorry.
It is. You know, that's, hate to admit it. It's sloppy. There's 22 misspelled words. The secret is I was not a very good writer as a kid. And this continued on through elementary school, junior high, and high school. Really, writing wasn't something I did that well. I really enjoyed math and science, but writing wasn't my thing. I loved to read, though. I was a big reader. But then when I got older and became a mom and started reading all these books to my kids, I thought, you know, I would really love to write kids' books. And so I took a class at a local college, and I started practicing, and I typed up my stories on my computer, took them to my critique groups, and those are other people who want to be writers, and we all read each other's stories. And do you ever do that? Do you ever have your friends read your stories?
Yeah. No.
It's a good thing to do, because they can tell you if something in their story doesn't really make sense, or what parts they love, and they can help you change, edit your story and make it much, much better. So that's what my critique friends did. And so finally I got really brave, and I started sending my stories out to publishers. And publishers, as you probably know, are the people who take a story and turn it into a book.
Which publisher?
So I mailed them all out, crossed my fingers, and pretty soon I got letters in the mail back from these publishers. I got lots of great letters. I had these smaller sized letters. I had bigger letters, and they came in different colors, and some of them just checked boxes on the side. But the problem was every single letter I got said, no thanks, we don't want to publish your story. These are called rejection letters. And in time, well, I've gotten probably over 150 rejection letters. And for 8 years, how old are you guys?
10.
Okay. So for most of your life, 8 years is probably almost your whole life, all I got were these rejection letters. And how do you think I felt when I kept getting rejection letters?
Terrible.
Sad, rejected, mad, frustrated. But you know what? I loved writing, so I just kept practicing and trying and working at it. And eventually, one day in the mail, gotta find it, something very exciting arrived. Can you guess what this is?
An exception letter.
Oh, you're right. There it is. It was an exception, and what it is called officially is called a contract. And this was the legal agreement that said, yes, we're going to publish your book, and this is when we're going to do it, and we're actually going to pay you money. Whoa, you know. So I was so excited. I did this little happy dance around my house. I was woohoo, and my kids are like, what are you doing? This is embarrassing, but I was just so excited. So what that means is, and what I want to tell you is, if there's something that you really love to do, and maybe it's not writing, maybe it's playing the flute, the piano, basketball, soccer, whatever it is, keep practicing, because you're going to keep getting better. And if you get rejected or you don't reach your goal right away, just keep going, because if it's something you really love to do and you keep working at it, eventually you can have some success at it. You can keep doing it and really get better. So, will you promise me you'll do that?
Yeah.
Okay, we can't be quitters, right? We got to keep going. Well, on my writing journey, as I said, it took a while to get a book contract. The first thing I got published was a story in a local newspaper. So it wasn't quite my goal of a book, but it was me getting there and making progress. And then I had some stories published in magazines. This is a children's magazine, and this is an adult magazine about adoption. My daughter's adopted. And then my first book, you'll never guess what my first book was about. Well, I don't think you could guess. You'll go ahead and take a guess. We'll see if anyone can guess what it was about.
Animals?
Yeah, good guess. But
Maybe an adopted child.
I have a book on that, but that wasn't my first one.
Was it about sports?
Sports. I have sports books too, and those are all great guesses, but it's a crazy thing. It was this book, and it's about atoms, little tiny particles that make up everything in the world. It was about atoms. And the reason is, science. And actually, when I went to college, I studied science, I studied engineering, I have an engineering degree, so I finally decided maybe I could break in with my knowledge of science, and that's what happened. So I did a lot of those type of books. Those are nonfiction on sports and biographies, and Corduroy is over here wanting me to see him. But then eventually I broke into a different genre of books, and this genre means kind of books. And this genre was picture books, and that's what I always wanted to write. And this was my first picture book. It's called Animals Are Sleeping.
I read that.
Okay, and it's a really short story, isn't it? Not a lot of words. The interesting thing about this book is I got the idea when we were in the car one day. We were driving back to Indiana. That's where I'm from. And my daughter was in the back seat, and she saw an animal standing on an Amish farm. And she pointed, she goes, they sleep standing up. Well, I did not know this animal sleeps standing up. And it got me thinking about all the different ways animals sleep. Standing up, sitting down. Does anyone have a guess what animal she saw on that farm? In the green sweatshirt there.
A horse.
You're right, it was a horse. I didn't know they could sleep standing up or laying down. So it's interesting how authors can get ideas. I wasn't thinking about writing books when I was riding in the car, but all of a sudden I had an idea, and I wrote the ideas down while my husband was driving, fortunately. Then my next picture book is called What's New at the Zoo. And this book is an addition book. I like math a lot. And each verse talks about a different animal, a different baby animal name. And I got the idea for this. I was writing a book about peacocks for another publisher. And when I was researching peacocks, I learned that a baby peacock, does anyone have a guess what a baby peacock is called? In the back with the purple shirt.
A pup?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Well, they call seals and stuff pups. I was just wondering.
They're actually called pea chicks.
I
So it made me laugh too. I thought, that's really funny, that's cool. So then I decided to write a book that each verse has a different baby animal name. So that's where this idea came from. And then my last picture book, What's the Difference, is a subtraction title, and it talks about endangered animals and about how people can help make a difference for these animals.